What's up, Pressure Gang? I'm sorry, y'all. I just ate a piece of candy. Let me start it back over. What's up, Pressure Gang? It's your girl, Portia, and I'm back with another lit banger. So, as you can tell by the title, it says Making Sense of Your Past Work, Episode 1. I posted on my Facebook channel like a couple of weeks ago that I was going to be starting a series on making sense of your work, making sense of your trauma, trying to process your trauma and things like that. So guess what? It's June and we're about to get ready to start it. Before we get into the video, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're not watching this series, then what are you watching? If you're not watching episode 1, then what are you watching? It's time that we start processing our trauma, and it's time that we start making sense of it. Don't be afraid to process trauma that you buried, because guess what? It's going to come back up. And you can tell that it's coming back up because of the behaviors that we have on a daily basis. That's how you know when there's unresolved trauma, when your behavior starts to affect what's going on with you. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. I do have my book with me because I'm going to actually teach from my lesson. So let's get into it. So the goal of this series is 8 episodes, and the goal of this series is called Deep Healing. That's going to be the goal. Like I said, a lot of people tend to be afraid to talk about their trauma, or they bury their trauma so deep because they don't want to process it, or they don't want to go through it, or they don't want to be reminded of it. But for 1 second throughout these 8 episodes, I want you guys to be able to open yourselves up to be vulnerable, because it's not an easy journey to go through whenever you're trying to process and make sense of your past. It's not easy, but together we all are going to go through it, and we're going to get through it together. The goal is to walk every day knowing your worth. Our worth is not dependent on our performance. I'm going to say that again. Our worth is not dependent on our performance. Throughout our lives, we have all been exposed to negative messages. Over time, we are at risk for believing these messages. I'm going to use an example from email address, right? So unsubscribing from emails to explain how we are going to unsubscribe from other person's reality and place it with our true reality. I'm going to say that again. Throughout episode 1, you're going to be unsubscribing from other people's reality. All of those things that people have once told you that is not a true reality. For example, somebody once told you that you are not good enough. Somebody once told you that you're a mistake. Someone probably once told you that you'll never be nothing. Those are the messages that we are going to unsubscribe from and replace it with our own true reality. I am somebody. I am good enough. We are going to learn these negative messages should not belong to us. We may have absorbed them, but they are not ours. They belong to the person or persons sending the negative messages. Their reality of how they treated you is a reflection of a lie or lies grounded in their own history. As we learn the truth about who we are going to slowly unsubscribe from other people's realities and resubscribe to our own truth reality. One that defines the amazing word, because I want you to know you are worthy. We are going to identify the lies we believe and replace them with the truth. We are also going to take a look at our whole life and the events you experienced that contributed to this low self-worth. The goal throughout these 8 episodes is to help you achieve complete healing so you can live every day in positive self-worth. This is only the beginning. And because we're in episode 1, I'm going to tell you it's not going to be an easy process. It wasn't an easy process when I had to go through it. I actually took this course in Oklahoma, and I went in with no expectations. I was thinking like, you know what? Yes, they about to teach us something new, something different that I can learn, and take back to my clients. But that's not what happened. I went to this training and I processed every trauma that I was not ready to process. And I'm here to tell you, if you're not ready to process a particular trauma, then don't, because can't nobody rush you. Can't nobody rush the trauma that you're going through or have went through. But what I want you to do is make yourself vulnerable and open up enough to where you can hear and you can listen to what's going on. And remember, I don't care what they told you. I don't care what they did to you. You are worthy. You are worthy. And you are enough. I don't care if they said you wasn't good enough. I don't care if they said you weren't never going to amount to anything. Those are the lies that they told you. Those are not the lies that belong to you. I want you to remember that. Now I'm going to give you the definition of self-worth, right? It is the belief that they are worthy of being treated with respect, that they are worthy of being seen, heard, and valued. Oftentimes, I feel like a lot of people are afraid to talk about their trauma or to attend therapy or process their trauma because they don't feel valued. They don't feel like they're being heard. They feel like people are talking at them. They feel like people are judging them. But throughout these 8 weeks, you have my undivided attention. And I want you to know that you are valued, you are seen, and you are heard. Now I want to tell you the definition of self-esteem, because they're different, but they go hand in hand, but they are different too at the same time. Self-esteem is performance-based. It is the idea that we believe we can perform tasks well, which is the positive self-esteem, or unwell, which is the low self-esteem. Self-worth has nothing to do with our performance. It is our belief in our own value, no matter how we perform. Experiences can often merge these two concepts together, but we need to separate them because they're totally different. Why is self-worth important? I want y'all to drop what y'all think and why y'all think self-worth is important in the comments below, because I want this to be engaging so that whenever we do go into episode 2, we can talk about some of y'all comments before we actually jump into it. But why is self-worth important? I'm just giving y'all a moment to think about it. While y'all think about it, self-worth is the foundation of who you are as a human being. It plays a role in every decision you make and in every relationship you have. It can help you avoid future painful relationships, help you leave painful relationships, and sustain you through difficult times. That's a good one. It is responsible for the experience of true, authentic joy and love. It allows us to be creative and experience the world from a place of emotional safety. Self-worth tells us who we really are and who we aren't. Self-worth is the foundation for everything. And guess what? Self-worth is a solid foundation of the following characteristics. Asking for help. If we have self-worth and we value that, then we don't have any issues with asking for help. Asking for help. If we lack in areas, then that just means we don't have self-worth, or we're not where we need to be in order to value that. A lot of people have been through different situations and relationships that tainted their worthiness. But I'm here to tell you, you are worthy. Forget what everybody else said to you. Forget what everybody did to you. I want you to know that you are felt, seen, valued, and you're heard. And the most important thing I want you to remember is the validation that you're looking for with people, you're not going to get it from the ones that you're looking to get it from. If you are dealing with a breakup, or you're dealing with a relationship and it's not going the way you want it, why are you looking for a validation in that person that's not going to even give it to you? So when somebody else comes to tell you that you are worthy, it's hard for you to accept that, because you're not getting it from the one person that you're looking at it from. You're not going to get it. I'm here to tell you, you're not going to get it from the person that you want it from. Strangers are your best friends whenever you're going through anything. I just want you to know that. We also have to gain self-worth and to work on our self-worth, not only for us, but if you have kids, you have to do it for your kids. But you have to understand, you cannot give what you don't have. So if you lack in some area self-worth, you can't give it. How are you going to give it to your kids? How are you going to give anything to your kids that you don't have? It starts here first. You have to learn how to work on yourself and to better yourself and to make sense of your own trauma, so that you can make room to be able to do it for your kids. It gets way deeper than this, y'all. It gets way deeper. Self-worth is formed by having our primary attachment figure meet our needs when we are distressed, and having them delight in us when we express our creativity, our true selves. My bad, y'all. I have to change locations. This is something that I forgot to say at the beginning. Trying to find some good lighting. This is what I forgot to say at the beginning. But at the beginning of every episode and at the end, and probably in between, I'm going to say this. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. Once you know it, it takes time to apply it. And I say that to say this. Don't feel guilty for the mistakes you made. Don't feel guilty because of the things that happened to you in your past. Don't feel guilty for all of those messages that were subscribed to you. Don't feel guilty because of those. You know why? Because you don't know what you don't know until you know it. For example, if you was raped as a kid, if you was molested as a kid, can you sit up here and tell me you knew what you were doing? It's gonna get real touchy. Can you honestly sit up here and say, I knew when that guy or that woman told me to go here or go there, that I knew what was going to happen to me? No, you didn't. When you were a teenager, even in your adult years, a lot of things you just simply don't know. So I'm not going to allow you to feel or have any guilt for any trauma that you experience, because once you know it, it still takes time to apply it. I want y'all to remember that. You don't know what you don't know until you apply it. Okay, let's get back into it. I'm going to now explain the definition of shame, which is lies. Okay, stay with me, keep up with me. Shame is formed when our needs are not met, when we are distressed, and when we are not seen or heard when we express our true selves. Shame is the belief that something is wrong with you, that we are not good enough. When our needs are not met, when we are distressed and we are not delighted in, we start to believe something is wrong with us. We start to develop shame. Shame is the opposite of positive self-worth, right? If we do not have somebody sending us messages that we are valuable, all life's negative messages will stick and we believe the lies. I'm going to say that again, but I'm going to reframe it. So if you constantly having somebody feed negative messages into you, then guess what? We will believe those if we don't have nobody coming behind us saying you are valuable, you are worthy, you are enough. Surround yourself around people that's giving you positive affirmations, that's confirming your true reality. Not surrounding yourself with people that's allowing you to continue believing those negative messages. Something wrong with that. If our caregivers did not define us as valuable, then we are in a way undefined, and the world at large will define us. Some examples of that is, you do not count. You are not good enough. I don't have time for you. Those are all lies. Why? Because I want you to know that everyone is worthy of love. Everybody. Stop believing what these people are telling you. Like, what level of security are they giving you by believing what they say? Can somebody answer that? It sucks and it's easy said than done. Yes, I do know that. But what is it really doing? What is it really doing? Somebody tell me. It's not doing nothing. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I can't sympathize or I don't understand what somebody else been through, because I've been through it all. I'm not saying I've been through it all, but I've been through enough. I was that one that had to be perfect. I was that one all the time. You know why? Because situations, circumstances, and people put that message on me that that's what I had to do. And that's what I had to be. Let's go get deeper than that, y'all. To heal, we must replace the lies with truth and find a way to get our get our needs met as adults. To heal, let's say it again, we must replace the lies with truth and find a way to get our needs met as adults. To heal, we need to make sure we do two things. We must replace all negative messages, which is the lies, with the truth, and we must find a way to get our needs met as adults. These are the two ways we build our self-worth. Getting our needs met as adults can be very challenging. We would never expect one person to treat us the same way we would have desired our parents to treat us. It is unrealistic to think another adult will meet all of your needs as an adult. You will discover through the course of this program which relationships are safe in your life that can help, but you will also learn to meet your own needs. Your own needs. You don't need anybody else's validation to meet your own needs. You will more than likely become your primary caregiver to yourself. Okay? One thing that I want y'all to do on your spare time, on your own time, throughout this course is you gotta write down, you gotta figure out, what do we all need to be healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? Once you can identify all of those, then we can start somewhere. Then we can identify if those needs were met or were they unmet in our life. One of the things that I want y'all to take away, and once again, this is just the introduction of the 8 episodes that we are going to be discussing. We are going to be in depth with a lot of stuff, and I hope you all are prepared. Whenever you're going through this course, I want y'all to remember some of the things that I want y'all to go into this course with every negative message that someone has once told you. And that message is their reality of you, not what your true reality is. Whether you had somebody tell you you're not good enough, whether you had somebody tell you you were average, you did something wrong, I did something unforgettable, somebody once told you you were ugly, somebody once always made you feel guilty, Whether someone told you that you was a burden, they told you was a failure, you will never measure up to anything, you're terrible, you're not a lovable person, I am not needed, I'm powerless, it's not okay to show my feelings, I can't do anything right. I want y'all to keep those in the back. Those are examples of what I want you to put at the front and in the back of your head, because, excuse me, those lies are the lies that we're going to be processing throughout this entire 8 weeks. It's not easy to have to go back and think about what somebody once said or once did to you. It's not easy. Trust me, I'm not going to sit up here and say it is. I went through this and I cried. I cried in front of strangers. I cried in front of everybody, because I'm like, man, I thought I forgot about this. You're going to find yourself thinking that you buried or you forgot about the trauma that you experienced, but in reality, you haven't. Some people, a lot of people, they bury the trauma so deep because they want to forget about it, that it comes back up in conversation with somebody else because you started experiencing something called secondary trauma. And then you find yourself crying or you find yourself depressed because now what? The trauma is still there. You can't bury trauma and expect for it not to come back up, because in due time it will. But I'm here to help you process that trauma. I want you to remember that your life is important. You are important. You matter. And stop looking for these words to come out of somebody's mouth that you love and you genuinely care about, that don't see the value in you. Stop it. Stop. Half of y'all across the world don't know me. You don't have to know me. I just want you to hear and listen to the things that are coming out of my mouth. You're valuable. Your life matters, and you are important. A lot of times we get so caught up in relationships, our past, current trauma, that we lose ourselves. And once we lose ourselves, we lost our self-worth. We lost the value. We forget who we really are. Stop allowing people to dictate or define who you are. And throughout this course, I'm hoping that, some of you get the courage to stand up to your true, authentic self and start believing that you are somebody and you can do it without the other person. You can beat trauma. You can beat it. You can beat your current obstacles in your situations. I know you can. We let people and situations define who we are, and this goes back to me telling you that you don't need to seek validation from people. Once you get to a place in a space in your, within yourself, that you no longer need people to make it, to walk, to breathe, to think for you, then you're dangerous. You're dangerous. Because at that point, nobody can no longer hurt you. And you no longer have to need anybody. They're going to turn around and they're going to need you. But before you get to that point, you have to get you together and you have to make sense of things that's going on in your life. You are bigger than your situations. And I want you to always remember that. Spend time. See, whenever we go through our struggle, we go through our circumstances and our problems, we tend to say things like, nobody's there when I need them to be. But in reality, guess what? People are really genuinely there for you. We tend to push people out the way whenever we're going through it. Stop pushing out people that genuinely care about you, because those are the ones that can get you back on track. Yeah, we can go through things alone, but for how long? If you genuinely have people that love you and care about you, keep them people around. Because when you feel weak and you feel vulnerable and you feel like you're going to give up, or you feel like you're going to go back to that thing, or you feel like you just can't do it, then those are the ones that you're going to have to lean on, because them are the ones that's going to tell you the truth. Like, no, don't. Stop using that excuse. I ain't got nobody. Don't nobody care about me. Because they don't care, because you pushing them away. Stop. We try to play so hard. We try to be so hard. But in reality, we need people. We need people. Express your emotions daily to people or someone you feel comfortable talking to. Your emotions is a form of release. Stop hiding behind them. And I fight that statement a lot because I don't process anything. Things just happen, or I go through things and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go through this and have my little moment of like 30 minutes of pouting or just depression, and that's it. But in reality, I buried it. I didn't do nothing with it. So talk about your emotions, because they are a form of releasing, whether you know it or not. But talk about it to somebody that values your opinion and that values your emotions other than you. Somebody that cares. Oftentimes we say, like I just said, we don't have nobody, but in reality we do. Keep those people in your life. And another thing I want to point out is that whenever we're going through trauma, we tend to, how we do it, just hide it, man. We tend to turn to like addictions as far as like alcohol, marijuana, drugs, whatever the case may be. Look, I'm not knocking none of that. I'm not knocking, I'm not no drug counselor. I'm not trying to be no counselor right now. I'm not being into that. But try reducing your addiction just a little bit to where you're not bearing your trauma so far down, because one day all that's gonna come right back up and you gonna fold, and you're not gonna know how to deal with it when it all comes together. You're not gonna know how to do it. We deal with trauma in bits and pieces. But what's gonna happen when all of it fold on you? What's gonna happen? You're not gonna be able to control it, because we keep using addictions as a temporary fix, and a lot of the times it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. It only relieves your pain temporarily, and when it's over, guess what? The pain is still there. It is still there. It's no longer serving its purpose that you wanted, which was making the pain go away. So just remember, you are worthy, you are enough, and you do not know what you don't know until you apply it. Don't feel guilty behind anything, any trauma that you have experienced, because it wasn't your fault. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. Once you know it, it takes time to apply it. Please, don't feel guilty. Thank you for watching the first episode of making sense of your past, making sense of your self-worth, making sense of your trauma. This is just the beginning, and trust me, we have a long way to go. And if you come in here with expectations, if you come in here vulnerable, if you come in here opening up your heart, opening up your mind to wanting to process your trauma and wanting to get a release, you're in the right spot. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next episode.